All right, Ryan, welcome to round number three, guys. We are jumping straight into it. I like this. There's minimal downtime. Rounds are finishing quick. We've obviously got the best of one, no side yet. It would be interesting to see how that kind of plays out if we do decide to incorporate that into the next event. Again, guys, if you don't know, this is a completely free event. We've got 5 playmats up for grabs today, first, second, third, and 2 bounty mats which have already been claimed. We are now on to round number 3. It looks like, and I'm not sure what I'm seeing, but it's definitely Wish is back early. The set has not released yet, so it's definitely not the Zamasu Wish. We are definitely looking at the old school. That's Super Shenron, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so, yeah. And it looks like we've got Soul Striker on the other side.
There we go.
I believe he had some kind of sleeve on it to make it look like Goku Black.
I was going to say, because I looked at the leader, I'm like, I cannot recognize this leader. I like, this doesn't make sense to me at all, but we have Soul Striker versus Super Shenron, and again, I've mentioned this before, but I just love it when there's brand new leaders. It is a fun event. It's not for any kind of cash, or, it is obviously for still some decent prizing. But yeah, I love seeing these leaders come back. Obviously, Soul Striker has still been around, so it's not brand new, but we haven't actually seen any blue decks in this tournament yet. So I'm very excited to cast this one as well, and then Wish as well. So 2 completely different ones here, and starting us off, it looks like the Shenron player will go first. Looks like he found a Dragon Ball in life. 1 is not too bad. I have played Wish before. It is quite painful to have 2 or more in there. 1 is not the end of the world. You obviously want to keep as many out as you can. 3 balls to start off turn 1. Not bad. Has he got a 4th? No. Okay. So Mulligan grabbed 1 in life, and 1 from deck. So that's not a bad start still. To see one. And is this the promo?
Ooh, Power Rangers, yeah.
Interesting. This is the promo from the. Is this the last set? I want to say it's the last set. That we just went through this current set, but it could be the one prior to that. But yeah,
I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it is that you're able to pay 2 energy, if I'm not mistaken, and you can evolve over your Caterpillars for free for the remainder of the turn. Oh, actually, sorry, that's the tournament promo.
Tournament promo,
isn't it?
yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay, so the card coming out, I think the Battle Evolution was the one that allows you to go up the chain, but that being the tournament promo, yeah. And I've played Power Rangers in the past. I utilized it with the Soul Striker leader, and it's so much fun to play them. They're extremely aggressive. You're able to go up the chain quite easily. There's very little kind of opportunities to remove them. The 4-drop having barrier, the 6-drop having barrier, double strike, dual attack, critical. Just an absolute monster to kind of get through. So we're going to be seeing whether Soul Striker is defensive enough to kind of stop that card from hitting the field, and whether it can, get through Wish on its turns.
Yep. So we're going to see the Obuni in the energy. Soul Striker taking his first turn now.
Probably a pretty slow turn 1, 2
for
Soul Striker, and not going to see too much, which will allow this Shenron Wish deck to establish its chain. Searching through.
Grabbing another 2 balls, just very stock standard. So I think it's pretty stock standard here. We should be seeing the Awakening, or is it still called Awakening on the Wish leaders? I actually don't remember.
It's just Wish.
Yeah. So yeah, should see that on turn 3. And he probably wants to take as little damage as he can. Oh! The main board Gohan, the blue hate. Oh man, that is the main board. That he just, I don't know if he just really hates blue, or if he just wanted to, just kind of make sure that he had that card. So guys, for those that don't know, it does have barrier. It is a 1 cost. When the card is played, draw 1 card. The auto once per turn. When your opponent switches their energy to active mode using a counter skill, place up to 1 card in your opponent's life and 1 card in your opponent's energy in their drop area. This is what you do not want to see if you are a Soul Striker player.
Yeah, with just not having much options to kind of remove through barrier, your Dimension Magics now just aren't going to get their full
Oh
rating.
man, that is wow. Like, and not only that, like to see that on turn 2, nice and early. Even if you saw it on turn 1, it's not really going to be too much of a drama because at the end of the day, you probably would have played on turn 1 as well. You could have still played the other extra card on turn 2, but seeing 2 really, really nice cards this early on from the Shenron player, he's just laughing. He's just having a field day right now. He probably sat down, probably saw Soul Strike, and he was like, yeah, soz, my main board is going to hurt you a little bit. So, and I feel like there's not really much removal in blue or barrier either. Like, I think that Gohan's just going to stay on the board for quite some time.
Both of those battle cards sitting behind barrier right now. So the 4-drop having it as well.
And yeah, so guys, we were talking about the extra card. It is Raging Transformation itself. If your leader card is black, you choose this card in your drop area, 1 card in your hand, and send it to the warp. You can add up to an evolve skill from the deck. But the activate main was play up to 1 Catapezla card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So it has multiple uses. He obviously opted for the activate main to play the 1-drop from the deck. So just another form of method if you don't see it in your mulligan.
Yeah, and we've got the option here to go all the way up to the 6-drop Catapezla in this turn, being able to pay 2 to go into the 5, and then 1 more to go into the 6.
And this 4-drop that he's got here, the Sonic Justice, right? Evolve onto the 1-drop for 1. It's got dual attack barrier as well, 15k. And it's got an auto for 1 energy. When an opponent's battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less attacks, negate the attack, then negate this skill for the turn. It's crazy. And he's going to play another Raging Transformation. It is limit 1, so he can only play 1 per turn. So he already played on the first turn, now he's playing it on the second turn. But he is starting multiple chains here. This is looking really, really good for the Wish player. Yeah, wow.
And it seems like the kind of finishing play for this deck is to establish the 6-drop, you have the dual attack, the double strike, the critical, and it's 30k. You're able to swing once, the battle card will restand, and then you can activate the leader's ability to remove the 7 Dragon Balls, and choose one of your battle cards, give it an extra 10k, and it gains triple attack for the turn, sorry. So you're able to get 4 attacks out of a 30k double strike critical, which is just incredibly difficult to kind of get around. You might be able to negate 1 or 2 of those attacks, but if you don't have something that can stop the turn, you're in a lot of trouble there.
Absolutely.
You see the Dimension Magic now being played, opting not to untap the energy, so he has realized that the Gohan's still on field, utilizing the Wish there, revealed the 7 Dragon Balls all in the drop area where they need to be. And then activating the Desire cards to be able to draw 1, untap 1.
And what do you do here, like, if you're Soul Striker, right? Like, your whole game plan is just like, sure, you can still bean, you can kind of still have a bit of, tinkering around, but yeah, Dimension Magic's gone. If he has Whisk Coercions in there as well, that's gone. He's going to evolve onto, is that the 5 cost? That is the 5 cost, isn't it, that we also saw from the event packs?
That's the 6.
That's the 6, wow.
When you evolve over the 5, you get to restand it as well.
Didn't even see him actually go into the 5.
Yeah, he did pay the 2 energy for
that. Wow. And now we've, like you mentioned, you've got critical, double strike, dual attack, barrier, auto. When the card evolves into this card, switch this card to active mode, which is why he's swinging again. And that is insane amount of pressure. And obviously not being able to untap that energy if you're Soul Striker. That's 3 life I think I can see on the Soul Striker side. Hasn't awakened yet. And 1 energy untapped. This is not a good time. And I'm just wondering here, if you're the Soul Striker player and you saw the Wish come out, it's the element of surprise, isn't it? It's just like you see this Wish lead and you're like, oh, okay, like what am I expecting here? And I don't think you expect to 1, run the main board Gohan, and 2, possibly run the Catapezla engine, because that's just something that we barely ever see.
Yeah, absolutely. I've still got terrible memories of this Wish deck back when Gogeta
Oh,
7 was running around, and I don't think I've seen this leader since
oh.
that card was banned.
I think I agree with you. And this isn't sorry. This is not the this is not Super Shenron. This is just the original Shenron. Leader. The leader itself. Yeah, the
Mm,
Super Shenron was sorry the one where you actually get to. It did get it did get errated instead of obviously being able to kind of have two turns for such a low cost. It did increase the cost itself. So this is just the original Wish leader, Shenron.
mm.
Um, but
And
still,
sitting in such a comfortable position here, knowing that it takes, you know, until turn 4 essentially for Soul Striker to really branch out and start doing anything creative, because the first few turns are so set in stone. You know, you're
yeah,
not doing much turn 1 and 2. You're going to play the Unison on 3, depending on which Unison you run, whether it's Raditz or this baby Parasitic.
yeah.
It's kind of telegraphed in the plays that you're going to do that Wish can comfortably tap out and sit behind this 6 drop, knowing that you're going to do exactly what I think you're going to do, you know? And if you're not sitting behind a hatch SER right now, you're, or perhaps even a heroic prospect, you're, yeah, probably a bit concerned at how quickly this game's going to end.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's not looking too good. For
With the
Soul
ability to
Striker.
be able to go up another chain here
Oof.
on the side as well, we're going to need to see a floodgate or some kind of turn-ending card come down here.
And he's got the Gohan in the energy as well, so he's running multiple of them, and there we go. There's
There's
the
the heroic
heroic
prospect.
prospect, yeah.
Yeah,
Very needed.
absolutely. Being able to negate the attack, and now if the Wish player attacks with anything with an energy cost higher than his current energy, he's going to have to bottom deck 2 cards each time. Got a large hand, could potentially push through that heroic prospect, or utilize the evolve to go into a 4-drop and get the dual attack and just continue to try and chip away. But yeah, definitely a saving grace for this
Mm-hmm.
this Soul Striker was definitely needed.
The Raging Transform.
Mm.
Plays another one drop.
It looks like that might be the 1-drop that you can pay 2 energy and continuously go up the chain for the turn.
Mm.
If I'm not mistaken, that some of these cards do look quite similar to one another.
Yeah, so this one you have to have 4 energy, but yeah, you can pay 2. And if you'd activate the Evolve skill on another or any Catapesla, you may do so without paying its skill cost.
Which is incredible, being able to pay 2 and go up the chain completely.
Yeah.
But we will swing here with the dual attack. It's 15k. We don't have to bottom deck 2, being a 4 cost.
Mm-hmm. I think he might just go for game here.
We could see a bean from Soul Striker. Oh no, he's swinging to Unison. So we're going to try and keep him off that -5 effect. And perhaps try and close it out next turn. We're still in a really comfortable position.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
at 4 life. You've got a massive hand. Soul Striker didn't get those 4 cards from life to hand. They went straight to drop area, being critical. So can't see how big Soul Striker's hand is, but I can't imagine it being anything out of control. We
No.
haven't seen any draw ropes being used.
Yep.
You know, we've seen the Awaken draw too. We've seen 1 draw off the trunks, but
Looks like it's about, yeah.
Cards just to try and combo out of these 15k attacks. So
From what I've seen, 5 or 6 cards from the looks of it.
Which is nothing, you know, for
absolutely
a
nothing.
deck that usually
Absolutely
sits
nothing.
around 10 to 13. That's incredibly low. Whereas Wish sitting quite comfortably with what seems to be about 10 to 12 cards and an established board. We've switched back over to Soul Striker, and that's the hit Unison in the energy there.
Something that you don't actually ever see.
Yeah, and that would be quite crazy against this Wish deck if you're able to flip the leader back to its front side.
Oh yeah.
You won't be able to flip back over because all the Dragon Balls are in the drop area.
Correct, and that's why it's interesting to see that he put it in his energy.
I think the damage has been done at this point.
Yeah.
You know, we're able to see an Oceanus come down here and Yeah. You could potentially push through this Oceanus. I mean, you don't want to be burning through your deck and warping 4 cards each time, but there's the God Sealing to prevent it hitting the field. So that won't get the effect. Oceanus doesn't have to discard since it's not being played, but it'll keep the Soul Striker's turn available. Okay, so we do see the discard for the Oceanus. And Soul Striker really just wants to extend his turn and not be locked out.
Oh.
Okay, through the Dark Banisher, another card we haven't seen in a very long time.
Triple strike, 30k if I'm not mistaken.
This one's a triple attack.
Triple attack, sorry. Yep.
With the auto, so if the Wish player activates a skill on any of their cards, they're going to have to warp 1. And there's the pan coming down, so we will see a warp 1, but that will prevent any battle cards from attacking. So really strong to be able to prevent that triple attack.
And pan is such a strong SCR.
Absolutely, yeah. And it was funny seeing. Obviously, there was some people unhappy with the art or the character chosen for this card being a guest secret rare, but they definitely didn't let anyone down with the effect that came alongside the card.
Absolutely agree, and it feels like, it's just these black SCRs that are coming out, just are always like trying. It's like they're trying to one up each other. At the end of it, like even the next SCR from Realm of the Gods that's black is also like is crazy to me, honestly.
Just the lasting effect that card has.
Yep, and the fact that these aren't like leader locked or color locked, right? Like it's just like you can put pan in any color that you want. It doesn't have to be black. You can put it in blue, red. It doesn't really matter as long as there's battle cards in play to kind of reduce this cost. And you saw that. So what happened here? Soul Striker paid for Fu, overwhelmed everything, tapped himself out to get like a really, really strong card on the board, right? Then the Shenron player pays 0 to counterplay the pan, which then stops his battle card swings for free, and he has to warp a card from hand because the Fu was in play. Like, it goes from one extreme to the other, right? You've got like a full tap out. Make sure you've got 8 cards in your warp. I'm gonna swing at you for like so much pressure, and then on the other side, it's like not really. Like I've got 1 card that can kind of deal with all this. It's like an all-in-one. It's literally, it's insanity that 1 card can do all this for no energy and have such a strong impact of shutting down your opponent's big boss monster. Like,
and then getting rewarded with the 40k attack as well, with the option to steal a battle card.
For man, absolutely,
just adding some salt to the wound at that point. Not only are we just shutting out your battle cards from attacking, but we also have that option there just to put pressure on too.
I mean, to swing with a 40k and then steal one of your opponent's cards as well to swing with again for 1 energy, like, unrivaled that SCR. Yeah, it's like I know a lot of talk at the time was like, Supreme Kai is still like is still better or it's stronger, etc. But different decks, different playstyles, right? I don't think there is a right or wrong. I feel like pan was used a lot more because it was a free negate virtually. It's almost like a hatch, right? I mean, it doesn't completely shut off your turn, but it stops you from swinging with battle cards. It is free for almost any deck that can have a combined amount of 4 battle cards in play on both sides, and it also gets to steal something on the next turn after it swings as a 40k body. Like it's it might not wipe your board like the Kai does, and it might not get rid of the unisons, but I mean, all the games that we've watched today so far have barely had any unison interaction, except for the Soul Striker now that has a unison in play. Obviously, blue does put a lot of work in for unisons. So does red. But it just feels like Kai might start to be moving its way out and making way for Pan. But then again, obviously with Empower coming in the next set, I am going to be intrigued to see if Unisons kind of take the spotlight again, and does that mean that the Kai SCR start to see a lot more play again in favor of the Pan?
Yeah, definitely. We see the 1-drop Caterpillar activate its effect.
Yep.
Tapping the 2 energy, so now he will be able to evolve over his chains for free for the remainder of this turn, and will continue to be putting pressure on this Soul Striker. And looks like we're comboing in here. I believe this 5-drop is a 25k
Double strike critical. Yep. And then when he got to play it, he actually got to warp the Heroic Prospect, which isn't big in sounds of things, but a 5k combo when you're going for game can sometimes make or break. So yeah, it is still quite large.
Yeah, and with a deck that draws so many cards with the Dragon Balls and things like that, and just being able to filter through your deck, easily able to get 3 super combos into hand, and still sitting with 10 cards in hand.
The thing I want to kind of point out here as well, right? He's going for game on the Caterpillar 25k, sure. I'm wondering why he didn't just swing with the Pan that's 40k and then get an extra 15k without needing to do anything. It's not like the Caterpillar has barrier, so he's like worried about something being able to pop it. He hasn't seen the SCR come out from the Soul Striker. I mean, the Pan is an ACOS, so even if he did have Heroine's Lineage, you'd be safer going on in the Pan because the Pan won't be able to be stolen. I personally, I feel like that would have made more sense because you can actually steal the Caterpillar if he had the Heroine's Lineage, which is, I'm not sure if it was just like an oversight, or maybe it was just like kind of just freshly evolve this card, want to show it off. Or he's got plans for the Pan to swing now and, still get the 40k, which is still fine. Just, if he did have the Heroine's Lineage and he comboed, those 3 cards onto it, it's kind of like, well, again, one card that negates the skill of another, and you've wasted another 4 cards on top of it trying to, combo with it. It almost feels like it could have broke the game back into the favor of Soul Striker slightly, but not punished.
I think you automatically assume that Soul Striker is playing Hatchiyak and potentially swing with the 5-drop first. That if he does hatch, you still have the option to go into the 6 to restand it, and then it's in active mode sitting behind barrier. So that could potentially have been the play, rather than swinging with Pan, he hatches, and then you're forced to either tap 1 to remove the hatch and remove your Pan, or have it sit in rest mode and potentially be removed. But yeah, perhaps you just wanted to win with Caterpillar. That's the main
dream
with the deck.
The dream.
Perhaps I want to kill you with the Power Ranger. Another Heroic Prospect coming down. Still quite a few attacks and quite a few cards in hand that can push through here.
Yeah.
We've seen both players utilize 3 super combos, I believe. And Soul Striker doing a good job to stay alive without relying on untapping energy for counters. Being able to play the 5 again. So we've seen so many cards now utilized off that 1-drop's effect of paying 2 energy. He was able to go into the 4-drop and then the 5. And then on the second chain on the far right, I believe he went into the 5 and then the 6. Just for paying 2 energy and being able to get all these cards out. Was really strong. Definitely a good, cool choice of deck for today. Definitely we weren't expecting to see, but happy that we.
I like this. Yeah, some of the entrants, in the Discord chat were just like, oh, what do I play? Like, I'm not going to play meta. It's just a fun event. Again, a lot of people are probably over playing the same decks over and over again, and they're just kind of looking forward to the next set. And I fingers crossed, guys. Touch wood. We're trying to work on some stuff to kind of run events with some cool prizing to kind of promote and show off Realm of the Gods as well. in the works. Like I said, fingers crossed that it all does come through. But yeah, these players have obviously. I'm very appreciative that we get to kind of see these fun decks that may not have made the spotlight, may not be tier 1. You might play them at your locals for a bit of fun. You know, we get to kind of cast these and see what crazy ideas people come up with, and what is in their inventory and what they've kind of thought might work well, and give us a bit of a show. So always appreciative of seeing these new kind of quirky ideas, and it's shown as well. Like the games that we've seen, they've been pretty close. There's never been really like a wash or anything like that. We got the interviews on. They've kind of spoken about how their play of this and their play of that and what their thought process is. And I'd love to see if the Shenron leader does win here. I would love to hear Kai's response to having. Oh, it's not even Kai. Sorry, Kai's running the Soul Striker. I think it's Jason.
This is Jason.
Yeah. In terms of putting that Gohan in the main deck for the blue hate, I'd love to hear it. And that's what this best of 1 sideboard is really going to do, right? You're probably not going to mainboard it. You're probably going to be able to put it on the side, and then when you see the blue, you're just like, beautiful. I've sided for this. I'm ready for it. And I think he's actually going for game here.
Yeah. Looks like it.
So now he is swinging with the pan. So you got 40k plus a chunk of damage going on here.
I believe we're at 60k if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, sorry, it's 70k. So we did combo the 2 Caterpillars. And that's it.
Yeah, that's game, yeah.
Yeah, Pan is able to close it out. Yeah, just in that, like the Wish deck was able to establish control of this game early on, getting the crit double strikes out and just put Soul Striker on the back foot too quickly. And that's the problem with Soul Striker is, sure, once you get to turn 4 and 5, if you're still sitting at 5, 6 life, you're in a really strong position. And you can start kind of edging the favor back in your way. But if they can get on top of you early, they can really put you on the back foot, and it's hard to climb back.
Absolutely. Yep, I definitely agree. All right, well, guys, that is it for Game 3. We will have the final round coming up after this, but first, we will get into the interview. I'm going to transition over to the other channel, bring in Jason, and let's get some words from the champ himself.
Oh,
hello, sir.
I have been kidnapped.
Hello, welcome, and congratulations on your win in round 3. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. I just came to have a bit of fun, and that's what we're doing so far. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And we were just mentioning actually on the stream, we appreciate you guys putting in the work and playing these off meta picks and trying to make it a bit fun and entertaining. Again, it is a free event, and we want people to have fun and we want people to enjoy themselves. So you've given us quite a treat to kind of go through. It was a very entertaining matchup and something that we barely ever see with this, which is why it was so entertaining to watch and obviously to commentate on as well. So you went back to the old Shenron, adding the Power Rangers in with some of the new support that came out in the tournament packs.
Yep, exactly right.
Yeah, definitely a well-built list. Just with a lot of the kind of defensive cards that you had available as well with Oceanus. We saw the 1-drop Gohan and Dark Power Marseille as well. Is this a deck that you played at locals before or something that you threw together just for this event?
No, I've played it a bit at locals myself. I am a big fan of the Power Rangers engine. I've played it in sort of as many decks as I can under the sun. So I've played it in Shenron, I've played it in Soul Striker, I've played it in Gogeta Xeno as well. So you boost the 1-drop by 10k and then you go up the whole chain. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It definitely struggles against faster decks, and Gogeta Xeno is a really difficult matchup because it's so easy to just warp the 4-cost, which is normally hard to remove, but they just have an on-engine piece that gets rid of it. But for the most part, it fares pretty well against mid to late game decks. It's just early aggro is the big part, which is why we have Oceanus and Protector of the People and so many other negates to throw at them.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. So you sit down, you look at Soul Striker, and you're probably in a pretty good position.
Yeah, you think
I sit down and I'm like, God Sealing is one of the most risky cards for most decks in that matchup, but you activate the new 1-drop, and then all your evolves are free, so you don't mind if they return things to hand.
That's a great point. Yeah, and obviously you had the Blue Hate Gohan in the main board, which was kind of crazy. Obviously did so much work for you in the early game, and then even in the late game as well, kind of shutting down his whole virtually his whole engine at that time. Like, you've got the Dimension Magics. Obviously, I'm not sure if he was running Coercions as well, but you kind of enabled yourself to kind of give yourself the advantage over what Blue does best, right? To give itself more energy resources and to kind of play these things without having to worry about it. So I guess I want to ask you, was that a last minute thing that you wanted to put in? Is that something that you normally run in there because you're kind of running the black cards anyway? So it's like, you'll just chuck it in and kind of go from there, or what was the idea with that?
So it's a relic of an earlier build of the deck that I had, because I was running Assemble the Squad at the time, which is the Wish card that lets you summon 15k or less from deck. And I had a whole bunch of tech options in the deck that I could just summon out for safety. So I had Gohan, I had the Mechikabra, which you can declare a card and they can't play it. So I had it in there for just versatility that you can just summon as like a 1-off or a 2-off.
Yep.
But out of most of those cards, this is the only one that's really stuck around because it does offer that much more versatility against Blue. And with this sort of deck, you try and punish them with as many attacks as possible. And for most decks, it's hard to resist all those attacks because eventually they run out of energy from their negates.
Yeah.
Whereas Blue doesn't necessarily suffer there. So they can just keep negating the crit swings. And so they're not really suffering at all. So that's why this guy's sort of stuck around.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just another 1-cost draw a card as well for other matchups if you just don't see the pieces you need early.
Yep, or energy at the end of the day, because you obviously run a lot of black cards anyway, so it's never never really a dead card. Yeah.
Yeah, and being a barrier card as well, it means it's going to stick on the field, which is great for your pan. A lot of your Ketapeslas have barrier too, so it allows you to keep those battle cards on the field and reduce that cost of the pan.
Yeah, exactly right. It keeps the board presence alive.
So
that's really what this is all about.
One of the big talking points that we obviously had, well, not obviously, but that we spoke about was the interaction of, Kai kind of tapping out at a point to play the Fu Overrealm, to put this wide pressure on, and then it's just kind of like, oh, well, you've just used so much resource to bring this card out. I'm literally going to play a 40k for free that stops you from swinging with it and every other battle card that you've got on the field. It's kind of crazy that we're at this point where, there's these big boss monsters that cost a lot of resource to use. You have to have, the 8 cards in the warp. You have to have 4 energy tapped down to be available. And obviously for Soul Strike, it's not as bad because they get to untap 2 when they swing with their leader, but it's still such an expensive card that, a card like Pan can literally mitigate in the sake of just having it in hand. Like, it was just honestly just as simple as, cool, you're going to play that, I'm going to play this, and there's nothing you can really... I mean, he could have counterplayed it, sure, but I mean, it's kind of like... Yeah, it's kind of crazy the point that we're in where, Pan... I wouldn't say Pan won you the game, but I mean, it kind of really ended his turn there and what his game plan was going forward to get himself back into this game.
Already being behind at that point as well.
Yeah,
he was feeling really safe at the time because I was tapped out because I had just tried to Oceanus him as well. And so he God Sealing the Oceanus, which left me tapped out, discarding a card and not having the mill effect. So, it seems like a really good time to go in. And then just being able to be like, all right, here's my pan that I don't need energy for. Like, it's honestly crazy because that ACOS Fu is an incredible card. I love it to death. It's one of my favorite cards. Unfortunately, it is just like a little bit too costly now.
Yeah, it's kind of
like, I just sometimes to my own detriment, I try and hold Pan for the last possible second. If I've got other options, we use that much before. You know, we have so many negates in the deck. We've got 3 Oceanus, we've got max power, power burst, petrification. Like, yeah, we just try and exhaust all of those before we use Pan. And it ends up, you know, came out good for me today, but not always.
Yeah, and we've spoken about this a bit as well. You know, Black is starting to get all these like really, well, I wouldn't say starting, but it's adding in a lot of really nice toolbox cards that, you know, other decks might have already seen, or you know, to kind of like give it generic support that regardless of what kind of Black deck you're playing now. And it really does feel like that, you know, the toolbox that's available, and even in the next set as well, the cards that are coming through for Black just makes it stronger and stronger as time goes on. So I'm definitely keen to see how Black kind of shapes up going forward. And I think there's definitely cards that you could add into this deck as well that obviously will help you out. You know, the token negate and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, look, honestly, great to watch, great to cast. Thank you so much for the interview, and congratulations on your round 3 win. I know we've only got a couple minutes until they get into the 4th and final round, so I will let you go to take a breather, take a break before you have to jump into game number 4. But again, thank you so much. Good luck in the 4th round, and it's a possibility we might see you again later on.
Awesome, my pleasure. Thank you so much, guys.
Take care.
See ya.
Yeah, see ya.